For centuries, we've been told a single, straightforward story about the Great Wall of China. A colossal barrier built to repel nomadic invaders from the north. A testament to human endurance and imperial power. But what if that story, the one etched into our history books, is incomplete? What if the wall's true purpose was far more terrifying, its design intended to defend against a threat not entirely human? Today we journey to the very heart of this ancient enigma. We will walk its time-worn stones, not as tourists, but as investigators. We're peeling back the layers of accepted history to confront a chilling possibility. The Great Wall we see today is a silent giant, its secrets locked away in mortar and stone. But clues remain, hidden in plain sight, for those willing to look closer. Anomalies in its construction, features that make little sense in the context of conventional warfare against human armies. Consider the sheer scale. We're talking about thousands of miles of fortifications, a project spanning dynasties and costing millions of lives. Was this monumental effort truly just for repelling horse-riding tribes? Some scholars are beginning to question this. They point to sections of the wall with watchtowers spaced unusually close together, far more than needed to spot a traditional army. The parapets, in certain areas, are exceptionally high, built as if to stop something that could climb with unnatural agility. Let's delve into the archives, into forgotten tactical blueprints and obscure local folklore that historians have long dismissed as fanciful myths. These texts don't speak of Mongols or Xiongnu. Instead, they describe shadowy figures, mountain demons or giants of the north, beings of incredible strength and ferocity. These weren't just bedtime stories to scare children. They were recorded with the same gravity as military reports. Could these be first-hand accounts of what the wall was truly meant to keep out? The standard narrative tells us the wall was a line of defense, a border. But examining its strategic placement raises questions. In some regions, it winds through impossibly rugged terrain, areas no large army would ever attempt to cross. It seems less like a border marker and more like a containment system, a colossal cage built around the threat already within, or a final barrier against something trying to break out from the desolate, uncharted wilderness. Let's focus on the structural evidence. Forensic architects have analyzed sections of the early wall, particularly those built during the Qin and Han dynasties. They found strange reinforcements at the base, designs that seem engineered to withstand immense, sustained brute force from the outside. Not the kind of force from a battering ram, but something more chaotic, more primal. Imagine the relentless pounding of a creature with superhuman strength, and suddenly, these architectural oddities start to make a terrifying kind of sense. And what about the watchtowers? We think of them as observation posts, but many were far more than that. They were self-contained fortresses, capable of holding out for weeks. Their internal design is a maze of narrow passages and kill zones, perfectly suited for close-quarters combat against an enemy that might breach the outer defenses. This wasn't just about watching and waiting. This was a plan for a desperate last stand, tower by tower, against an overwhelming foe. The mainstream historical community, of course, refutes these ideas. They argue that the immense labor was a display of imperial might, and the demons of folklore are simply allegorical representations of foreign enemies. But this explanation feels too simple, too clean. It fails to account for the sheer volume of corroborating legends from unrelated communities all along the wall's length. Tales of tall, hairy humanoids, incredibly fast and hostile, echo from Gansu to Hebei. We are venturing into the realm of crypto-history, where archaeology meets forgotten myth. We must ask ourselves, were the ancient Chinese engineers some of the most brilliant minds of their time building a defense against a known human enemy, or were they preparing for a war against a species we no longer believe existed? A species of prehistoric humanoid that somehow survived into the dawn of civilization, a relic of a wilder, more dangerous world. Let's examine the weapons found in the garrisons along the wall. Alongside the standard bows and crossbows, archaeologists have unearthed unusually heavy polearms and massive spiked contraptions. Weapons that would be slow and clumsy against a fast-moving cavalry charge, but devastating against a large, powerful bipedal target at close range. The kind of weapon you design when your enemy doesn't ride a horse, but instead tries to rip the gate from its hinges with its bare hands. This theory reframes the entire purpose of the Great Wall. It wasn't just a military project. It was an act of planetary defense. It suggests that our ancestors were acutely aware of a threat that modern science has completely forgotten. They fought a war for survival on a scale we can barely comprehend, and this wall is their legacy, a final, desperate line in the sand. A warning carved in stone across the face of a continent. The silence of the wall is deafening. As the wind whispers over these ancient battlements, you can almost hear the echoes of a conflict lost to time. The shouts of soldiers, the clash of steel, and something else. The guttural roars of an enemy unlike any we have ever known. We're not just questioning history. We're questioning the very nature of our own past. Was the Great Wall the last bastion of humanity against a monstrous incursion, a final stand that determined the course of our evolution? The evidence is circumstantial, fragmented, and buried under layers of official history. But it is there. The structural anomalies, the forgotten texts, the consistent folklore, and the strangely designed weaponry all point to a single, unsettling conclusion. The sentinels of the Great Wall were not just guarding a border between empires. They were guarding the border between humanity and extinction. As we continue to explore the world's ancient mysteries, remember that history is not always what it seems. Sometimes, the greatest truths are hidden within the most outlandish tales. The Great Wall stands as a powerful reminder that our ancestors faced fears we can only imagine, and that the world they lived in might have been far more strange and far more dangerous than we could ever believe. Thank you for joining us on this investigation. If you find these hidden histories as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. See you next time.